Welcome back to Watanagashi reading. We just had the most scariest moment of heights when it comes to Mion holding the ladder. And it was an insane moment. So let's continue reading. I jumped down from the ladder as if running away, before Mion turned into that person who wasn't Mion the second time. The adults tried a few different keys on the key ring as they tried to open the big shutter on the first floor. Why can't you just kick the door down? I mean, they're not there. Rika-chan's house used to be a disaster shelter for the town council, so the key to the shutter is still kept in the mayor's house. It's Rika-chan and Satoko's private residence now, though. Well, this is on Rika-chan's property anyway. Nobody complains about it, I guess. Mion gave me a smile as she said that. I, however, could only return her gaze with an aghast expression. Mion was acting all too normal now, but that only contrasted all the more sharply with her earlier un-Mion-like creepiness. Yeah, I know. Keiichi thinks it's pretty sketchy. I think it's pretty sketchy too. Bang! Bam, clatter, 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 bang. The shutter opened up for the first time in a very long while. Reina located the light switch and wasted no time going inside. I followed her in. Rika-chan! Satoko-chan! If you're here, say something. We climbed a narrow staircase. It had looked like nothing more than a warehouse, but now that I was inside, I could feel how lived in it was. It was a person's home. I wish I could live in a shelter shack like that. Somehow, the sense of the two of them filled the place. This was definitely where Rika-chan and Satoko lived. Well, this is a nice, pleasant music right there. The first floor doubled as a town assembly warehouse, but the second floor was a space entirely for living. Just like a one-room apartment, past the kitchen was a living room taking up about 150 square feet. Dressers, cupboards, and the like were packed into the space. And in the corner there was a huge pile of clothes that appeared to have just been taken in from drying outside. In the center of the living room was a fold-up table, and on it were small containers for things like soy sauce and salad dressing. The sense of a frugal lifestyle drifted from all of it. It was strange that they weren't here in the middle of the night like this. The adults, climbing the stairs one at a time, began to make a fuss and a talk amongst themselves. So? Not here? Yeah, they're not here. This is definitely weird. The village had just been thrown into chaos yesterday because of the mayor's disappearance. Then today, even Rika-chan and Satoko had... Were they out playing somewhere together? That can't be. Their bicycles aren't here, though. Where would they have gone so late at night? Have they just not come back yet? Where did they go? The adults put forth various possibilities, and the house immediately devolved into a state of confusion. Eventually, Mion settled them down. I don't want to believe it, but the mayor, Kimiyoshi, disappeared yesterday. We can't say that this is unrelated. The adults' faces paled at Mion's declaration. Mine and Reina's did as well. Let's see. They could have gone nearby for some tea or something, then accidentally fallen asleep. Whoever invited them might not just be able to wake them up at all, too. Let's eliminate that possibility first. Makino-san, please go around to the houses near the stream. Keitaro-san, go look near Ojaga Lake. Okamura-san, you... Mion promptly gave directions to the villagers. The adults followed them without hesitation, despite her age. Mion could make a good leader of Hinamizawa from what I know. We'll remain here and call up anyone we can think of on the phone. Okay, everyone, you have your orders. Got it. The adults all roared in reply and pounded back down the stairs below. Wow, Mi-chan, you're not the only chairperson of the school, but Hinamizawa too, as well. No time for jokes. Hey, step aside. This old man is using the phone. Mion grinned proudly, took the receiver, and got started. Reina gave Mion a trusting look, considering her dependable for doing all of this. My feelings, though, were a little more complicated since her leadership seemed to be affirming the Sonozaki family's successor impression that Shion and Oishi-san had given me. Stop right there, Keiji Mabara. None of that matters right now. The most important thing is to make sure Rika-chan and Satoko are safe. Let's see, couldn't there be a clue hinting at where they might have gone somewhere in this room? I don't know. Dust for footprints? I'm making this too obvious, I don't know. Somewhere in this room. Still though, I wouldn't know what to look for anyway. If we tore the whole place apart and figured out what was different from before, we might be able to speculate, but there was nothing strange about this room and there were no clues in sight. In the first place, I had never been here before. Well, I never seen this part in the game. Man, this is getting more deep. I always keep saying that. In the first place, I never been here before. There was no way for me to know that was what was different if I didn't know how the room usually looked. Hey, don't give up, Keiji Mabara. Stop thinking and start looking for something. In search of something, I tried pulling open the dresser drawers and opened the windows. I didn't uncover anything meaningful, though. Reina, also unable to stand around doing nothing, was looking around the room like I was. Reina, I don't think you'll find Rika-chan by opening the refrigerator or the cabinet underneath the sink. Yeah, Reina, you would think she'll be stuck in the fridge. I just thought they might be hiding. Reina, you and your... As we were searching, it got noisy outside. Villagers were quickly assembling here, having heard the commotion. Of course, a lot of them were probably people Mion had called. I'll go tell everyone what's going on. The police will be here sooner or later, too. We'll need to explain the situation to Oishi. Mion began... I thought Mion has a bad feeling about Oishi. Whatever. Mion began descending the stairs, and we followed her out to the front of the house. There were already around 10 adults there, and all of them looked uneasy. I suddenly noticed that the old people from the shrine here were here as well, and they were praying for Rika-chan's safety, rubbing their prayer beads. This had gotten bad. This wasn't just a problem between friends anymore. Mion-chan, is it true that Rika-chan and Satoko-chan aren't anywhere to be found? The villagers all formed a ring around Mion, swarming her. Mion raised her right hand as if silently telling them to calm down. First, let's check every house according to the town's council notification division and see if they're visiting anyone. After all, they could be fast asleep at someone's house and totally unaware that we're looking for them. It would definitely be hard for someone to wake up Rika-chan if she had eaten a good, full meal and fallen asleep like a kitten afterwards. Oh, how nice it would be if that were the case. I don't want to think about this, but it's also possible something bad has happened. Mion's face grew remarkably more grim, and a wave of silence washed over the adults. We should divide up the work too. We'll go around to all the places we went last night while looking for the mayor. We'll go look around the damn construction site as best we can. You guys go search around the school. Right. Let's get a move on. Come on, let's go. All of you were up all night looking for the mayor. I know you're all low on sleep, but please, do your best. No, I know how that's gonna go. Got it. With that as their signal, the adults scattered in every direction. I figured I should scatter somewhere as well, so I started walking unsteadily in a direction no one else had gone in. I was getting farther and farther from people. I didn't feel scared or anything, though. If someone were made to disappear, Shion and I should be first. It would have been perfectly normal for me to be scared of the dark. However, I didn't feel that way. Why was that? It was because tonight, someone had already disappeared. So nobody else would disappear tonight. It would take some time before I, exhausted as I was, would feel guilt at the cause of my own selfish sense of relief. Alright, what's next? Suddenly my vision cleared and a cold wind caressed my body. This was the hill from which you could see the whole village. Look at this beautiful view. Looking down from this hill, I could see lights on here and there and knew that the entire village had awoken from its slumber. First Takano-san and Tomitaki-san, then the mayor, and now even Rika-chan and Satoko had been sacrificed, and word of it was spreading everywhere. The strength in my knees left me. This could no longer be a joke. We could have found him. Mian would have told me I was a warrior. Reina would just be glad as we did, and they would have smiled at me. My hopes disappeared as if I were awakening from a dream. That was what the view I could see was telling me. Following my knees, my arms both bent forward onto the ground, and I clawed at it with my nails. I couldn't figure out if I was feeling sorrow or frustration. Is this my fault? I couldn't endure the burden of my own sin, and I had just told Rika-chan about it. They had nothing to do with it, but Rika-chan and even Satoko had been sacrificed. It was like a cross that Shion and I would each have to bear the weight of until we ourselves were erased. Well, if I'm going that far, then the problems started long before that. My original sin of breaking taboo and entering the ritual storehouse without asking. I knew I shouldn't have gone in there from the start, yet I lost out to cheap curiosity. I hadn't felt so angry at myself until this very moment. There was a crunching sound. I wasn't even interested in who made the noise, despondent as I was. Keiichi-kun! Keiichi-kun! Are you okay? It was Reina. Perhaps my clawing at the ground made it look as though I was having stomach pains. She ran over and rubbed my back, like she was trying to make me feel better. This is all my fault. It's because of me. It's my fault. Keiichi-kun's fault? You didn't do anything wrong. Please don't blame yourself for this. I could tell Reina was doing her best to choose the right words out of consideration for me. That's why I could sense her intent behind those words. Keiichi-kun, you know why Rika-chan and Satoko-chan disappeared, don't you? Is what she really meant to say. Because it was an emergency, Reina had ignored the reason why I wanted to make sure Rika-chan was safe, but now that we actually confirmed her disappearance, it was only natural Reina would start to wonder about why. However, with the situation having gone this far, I couldn't possibly tell her now. I didn't want to admit that Rika-chan and Satoko had disappeared, but I couldn't let Reina disappear either. Keiichi-kun, if you stay out here in the wind, you'll catch a cold. Reina sat down, bringing her eyes level with mine. They told us that children should go back home to sleep. Reina showed me her watch as she said that. It was long past 1 in the morning. Time was passing too quickly. Had I been crawling around here for that long? If we don't sleep soon, we'll have trouble getting up for school tomorrow. Even the adults are really worn out, since they were up searching for the mayor last night too. They were saying they'd break up a little earlier tonight. I was a little upset that they weren't allotting as much time to this as they had to search for the mayor last night, but that was something I, the cause of everything, had no right to criticize them for. It's alright. The police arrived a little while ago. Look, there's police cars coming into the village right now. Hearing that remark, I looked down at the village to see that there were indeed more cars than one would normally expect at this hour, coming from the darkness on the other side of the mountain. However, none of their emergency lights were on. Of course, their sirens weren't wailing either. That's right. All of the incidents that occurred right after Watanagashi were seen as the product of Oyashiro-sama's curse, and would be handled in secrecy. Rika-chan and Satoko too, their disappearance would end up exactly like the other serial incidents in the past. Surreptitious, unresolved, declared a mystery, and disappear from memory. Rika-chan's face, her sweet face like a Western doll's, would fade away. Satoko's smile, her energetic, fanged smile, would fade away. The more I tried to remember them, the less I would be able to. I deserved to be called an idiot dozens of times over, and it wouldn't be enough. I couldn't hold back the tears at my own sheer stupidity. I don't know what you're blaming yourself for, Keiichi-kun, but you should stop. I wasn't about to deny it. I couldn't. Even so, I couldn't affirm it either. I wanted to at least keep Reina out of this. If she found out, she would become involved. Please, Reina, could you just leave me alone? Even if I went home, I wouldn't be able to sleep. If I couldn't get to sleep, then I at least wanted to search for Rika-chan and Satoko until I collapsed. The entire village was looking, and yet they still hadn't been found. I don't think I'd be able to find them if I went looking alone at this point. Still, I had to do it. They disappeared because of me. I couldn't possibly go to sleep while other people are out there searching. I had said that to myself in self-deprecation. But I soon realized that Reina was silently trying to find the meaning in my mumblings. I realized I had misspoke. It's Keiichi-kun's fault? Why do you think that? Why? That can't be. Keiichi-kun, you're not at fault. I was happy that Reina said these things to me, but she only did so because she didn't know the truth. If she knew that everything had been caused by my breaking taboo on the night of Watanagashi, then even Reina would curse my existence. However, I can't even allow for those curses. That would mean confessing my own crimes to Reina. If I spilled even one word of having snuck into the ritual storehouse on the night of Watanagashi, then even Reina would disappear tomorrow night. The gentle, spirited, always joking, always howling, but at a time like this, the most dependable person in the world, Reina, might disappear. I don't want that. Anything but that. This time, I need to bear my own cross, alone. Keiichi-kun, I know that you always have your friends in your heart. I can really understand feeling like you want to kick yourself. Reina knows, though, that it's not Keiichi-kun's fault. You didn't do anything wrong, Keiichi-kun, and I know that. You know that? The shivering in my veins rushed up my back and replaced the sorrow in my heart with fear. I didn't tell her anything, did I? Maybe I accidentally said something that caused Reina to figure it out. This is bad. Now, Reina will disappear. Reina will disappear. Reina will disappear. Then Reina, the same way I always did, grabbed my head and began to pet it roughly. Keiichi-kun, are you thinking that Reina might disappear now too? Because of Oyashiro-sama's curse? She puts more force into the hand rubbing my head. You don't need to worry about that. Reina isn't going anywhere. I promise. Why? How can you say that with such confidence? I mean, someone's been sacrificed every night so far. There was no proof that it wouldn't happen again tomorrow night. There was even less proof, after all, that the sacrifice wouldn't be Reina. I don't care who you are. Just please, if you're going to erase someone, erase me first. Please, stop cruelly getting rid of people we're close to, like the mayor for Shion, and Rika-chan and Satoko for me. Shion's hysterical shouting came back to mind. They must be planning to kill us last of all. They're not killing the first people who come to mind. They start by killing those who we're close to, and then, after they've caused us so much pain, they'll kill us. That must be what they're doing. Reina, please, don't disappear. Please don't. As long as I'm still here, I could no longer conceal the sobs welling up within me. Come on, Keiichi-kun. Crying doesn't suit you. Let's go back to the others. The housewives are cooking some miso soup for us. It'll warm you up and calm you down. Reina prompted me to stand. I didn't have the energy to oppose her, so I stood as she urged me to. We returned to the shrine grounds to find several gas stoves there with miso soup in big pots. The many villagers there sipped at the soup they were given in dead, stony silence. Their expressions were absolutely exhausted. Everyone had just been running around the village until a little while ago. From the dreary looks on their faces, though, I assumed they hadn't come up with anything yet. Kei-chan, where did you go? I was worried you disappeared too. Sorry. Mion held out some miso soup for me, but I refused the offer. I didn't have much of an appetite. Mi-chan, how is it? Did you find any clues? Mion took a sip of her soup, her expression frank. None at all. School ended and they went home. Then, the two of them went somewhere on their bicycles. Moreover, nobody ever saw them riding their bikes, so... When it gets dark out in Hanamizawa, people quickly vanish from the streets. Aside from adults hurrying back home from town in cars or on bicycles, it was normal to see absolutely nobody walking around outside. It wasn't at all strange that nobody had seen Rika-chan and Sotoko riding their bikes. It was the same last night with the mayor. There's no hope. Mion's apathetic tone pricked my nerves, but that anger quickly subsided. She had been doing all sorts of things to try and find Rika-chan until just a second ago. If I asked her, she'd probably say she was up all last night. She'd probably say she was up all night last night too, looking for the mayor, wouldn't she? She must have been far more fatigued than I was. Besides, what about me? I had spent the night hunched over in indecision, all alone. I had no right to say anything about Mion. Kei-chan, I know it's hard, but let's turn in for the night. We just decided we should break up the search for now. Drink this and let's call it quits. Is this the end? Oh, no, of course not. Once it's bright out again, we'll do a thorough search with the police's help. They could have gone to Okinomiya too. People are even saying we should go through all of Shishibone City, investigating whether there are any witnesses for both the girls and the mayor. Anyway, what happened, Kei-chan? Where did you go off to? You've vanished all of a sudden. I was really worried. Oh my god. She looks pretty angry. I'm just... Ooh. Suddenly I was on the receiving end, but I didn't have the willpower to respond. Sorry. I'll be more careful. Nothing happened? There wasn't anyone suspicious spying on or stalking you? Nothing like that? Mion demanded with a serious expression. I was being criticized for how inconsiderate I had been. Despite being in so much pain, I was frustrated that I was being criticized, but it was my sin. My sin, and I must bear it alone. Nothing. I'll be careful, either way. Sorry. Mion, now aware that nothing had happened, heaved a big sigh with her shoulders, looking relieved. Oh my. I knew I smelled something good coming from over here. I'd be much obliged if you'd allow me to have some. We heard the repulsive voice of a fat man. It was Oishi-san, trailed by a handful of police officers. He was acting energetically in a way unfitting given the situation. There's not much left, but you can have some if you want. Mion didn't like Oishi-san very much. Her cold attitude, though, didn't seem to bother Oishi-san in the slightest. It was like splashing water in a frog's face. Well now, Miso soup leftovers have a bit too much salt for my taste. Confound it. Would you all like any? He recommended it to his subordinates, but everyone gave dry smiles and refused. So, have the police gotten hold of any clues? Reina's smile was warm enough to replace the miso soup. Don't you worry, little missy. Everything's fine. We're searching for them real good. I guess. He didn't say a word about having found any new clues. In other words, there had been no progress. That sure was an annoying way of beating around the bush. So much for that. In any case, it really has gotten late. All you youngsters should get on home and get some sleep. It'll be bad for your health otherwise. Yeah. Kei-chan, Reina, let's get some rest. These guys get our tax money. They'll handle it from here for us. Or what I'm trying to say. We're taxpayers too, you know. It's like we're drinking our own piss. Okay, that's... Yeah. I really wasn't in the mood for laughter. In fact, Oishi-san was the only one laughing like an idiot. Okay, seriously, please do your best. Let's go home, Keiichi-kun. It'll be harder to wake up tomorrow if we don't. Yes, that's right. I can always bring you home if you need. Kuma-chan, why don't you bring the car around? No thanks. We came on our bicycles, so... No need to worry. We came in a truck. We'll just throw the bikes in the back. We may have gotten pretty sleepy, but we just needed a ride home at this point. I didn't want to bother the police like that. Reina, however, nodded. Okay, if you insist, we'd appreciate it. It's probably safer than if we went back alone. When I thought about it carefully, I realized that Reina's idea was extremely rational. Now that it's decided, let's get a move on, shall we? Okay, bye. Good night. Reina, Kei-chan. Yeah. Mi-chan, you go to bed soon, okay? Good night. I waved my hand as well, saying goodbye. Rika-chan and Satoko still hadn't been found. My unease, however, was steadily being pushed away by sleepiness. Reina showed the police where our bicycles were so that Oishi-san could haul them up into their truck. He prompted us to get into the back seat. I could hear the springs squeaking as I sat down into a seat that would normally hurt my rear end, but at this point it was very soft and was more than comfortable enough for me to fall asleep on. Ladies first. We'll start with the little Mrs. house. Where do you live? Thank you. My house is well. But that's it? Reina's voice slowly grew distant. I felt myself being sucked into the void of sleep. What the... hello? My brother-san, are you asleep back there? Huh? When I came to, it was quiet. The car was parked. Oishi-san was giving me a light slaps to the cheek. It didn't feel good at all, so I woke up immediately. I'm sorry, I just fell asleep. Something was being held right under my nose. A clump of metal? It was a can of coffee. It's lukewarm by now, but cafe au latte. But cafe au latte is good even at room temperature. Oh, thanks. I mechanically took the can and opened the pull top. The feeling of the warm, sweet liquid going down my throat awakened my sleepy mind. When my drowsiness receded, I started wanting to know why the car was stopped and why I was offered coffee. Oishi-san, who had been in the driver's seat, had, at some point, moved to the back. Suddenly, I had a very bad feeling about this. It reminded me of the questioning yesterday at the library. It was already too late by the time I realized I had made a mistake. Today, of all days, it didn't look like I would be getting away. I had a feeling that until Oishi-san heard what he wanted to, he wouldn't be letting me go. Please, don't get all formal on me. I'm not going to eat you or anything, my Bara-san. Oishi-san gulped down the last of his coffee, then stretched wide, showing me how relaxed he was. That, however, only served to heighten my nervousness. What do you need from me? Need? Oh, no, nothing really. You're going to evade the question at this point? What a deeply unreadable man. Well, I don't need you for anything. I just thought that you might need something from me, my Bara-san. I don't need anything. Oh, I see. Really? Are you sure there's nothing? No. There was only one side door in the back seat of this truck. In other words, my only exit was blocked off by Oishi-san. Oh boy. I couldn't get away. I could only limply hang my head and maintain my silence. Oishi-san, despite my reticence, relaxed and began smoking a cigarette. The cries of the insects outside seemed to be growing longer and longer, to an amount of time that almost seemed infinite. Here I was sure that you had something you wanted to talk to me about. Oishi-san exhaled a puff of smoke. The windows were open, but the tobacco smoke still accumulated inside the vehicle. How much did Oishi-san know? What did he know, and what did he want to hear from me? If finding out the truth made you disappear, then if I told him, would Oishi-san disappear too? Yeah, right, he's a police officer. He can defend himself. I had a feeling that I didn't need to worry about that in his case. I wonder how all this ended up happening. Oishi-san addressed me in a low tone, as if he was talking to himself. How all this ended up happening? How the hell should I know? That was what I wanted to know. You know Jiro Toмотaki-san and Mio Takano-san, right? I know you do because I personally witnessed you with them during the festival, along with Shion Sonozaki-san. Oh my god. Do you know how Toмотaki-san and Takano-san are doing now? They've actually, passed away. They met very untimely deaths. Oishi-san probably played that card in order to surprise me. However, I already knew and didn't display the extreme reaction he expected. What's this? Did you already know? Unfortunately for this question in particular, remaining silent was equivalent to saying yes. Oh boy, he knows it all. Remaining silent is equivalent to saying yes. Oh, so then did you also know the reason Toмотaki-san and Takano-san were cursed like that? People are saying that apparently they went into some forbidden building. The storehouse for ritual implements, that forbidden shed, sealing away Hinamizawa's blood-stained past. Were the mistake that started it all happened. Do you know about the rumors that say the mayor and Rika Furuta-san were cursed because of that too? That would mean it was mine and Shion's fault. He was right, as soon as we revealed what we did. What do they call it? A ritual storehouse? They're saying it was bad luck. The lock to it had been replaced by a simpler one, which made it easier for thieves to get inside. What? This was news to me. Until last year, it apparently had these big bars and a huge padlock on it. I mean, you know, ever since the priest and his wife passed away, Rika Furuta-san has been managing the place, right? Apparently she talked to the mayor saying she wanted them replaced with a lighter, more simple padlock because the bars were too heavy for her. I didn't know anything about those big bars he was talking about, but the lock had certainly been a simple one. It was a pretty cheap one too, and it didn't really fit my impression of what a lock for a place you'd store something as important as the ritual implements would look like. Rika-san is a small girl after all. The bars were heavy with rust, and they must have caused her a lot of trouble, so the mayor hired a craftsman and replaced the lock with a simple padlock so she could open it with a key. So how does that mean it was bad luck? Here's what I'm saying. Thieves couldn't get in with the old tight lock. The mayor and Rika-san replaced it with a cheap lock and key on their own, so thieves broke into it. Apparently that's how it's going down. That explanation's a bit... Letting that slide, certain members of the village delivered punishment upon the thieves who stole into the ritual storehouse, as well as the mayor and Rika-san who changed the lock. At least those are the whispers that seem to be going around. Maibara-san, what do you think? What do I think? I don't really know what you mean by certain members of the village. Are you familiar with the three families? Representatives from each of them gave short addresses at the Watanagashi Festival's opening ceremony. Did you see them? I came partway through the festival, so I don't really... The three families are the three oldest families in Hanamizawa. To give actual names, the Kimiyoshi family, the Sonozaki family, and the Furude family. They each have quite the lineage, it seems. Long ago it said that everything in the village was decided by a council of the three families. The Kimiyoshi family, the old man Kimiyoshi, meaning the mayor's family. The Sonozaki family was Mion's, so the Furude family was Rika-chan's family. Then, after the war, the Sonozaki family quickly expanded their influence, practically speaking, after leading the fight against the construction during the damned conflict. They jumped to the top of the hierarchy in Hanamizawa. So the Furude family was Rika-chan's family then? You see, though, in accordance with the old ways, they still decide important village matters only after consulting with the three families. That's why the leaders of the three families each have their own address at the start of Watanagashi. In other words, the mayor, the old lady currently in charge of the Sonozaki family, and the last remaining member of the Furude family, Rika-san. I heard that the Sonozaki family was pretty high up there, so Rika-chan's family was just as old? Well, as you're aware, she has no relatives at all. In reality, the Furude family holds pretty much no influence. However, it seems like people gravitate towards Rika-san on a personal level, and I hear that many of the village's elderly have blind faith in her. It was certainly true that Rika-chan had an odd sort of charisma amongst the elderly. Amongst the elderly, I mean. Yep, I can tell on that. So, what are you telling me about all this three family stuff for? Oishi-san paused for emphasis, lighting another cigarette. Let's see, let me read this again. So, what are you telling me about all this three family stuff for? I've explained a lot, but I suppose it's still not enough. I'm asking because I don't understand. Oishi gave me a dry, meaningful grin and blew out another big puff of smoke. Members of the three families are disappearing one after the other. That's what I'm talking about. I've read that it's based on some kind of old traditions inherent in Hanamizawa, but I don't know much beyond that. I don't know anything about it either. That's why I'm asking. The leaders of the Kimiyoshi and Furude families have disappeared, so maybe the leader of the Sonozaki family will disappear next. Well, that's just a random idea bouncing around in my head at the moment. Why do I have the feeling Mion is going to be disappeared? Just kidding, really. I don't know. Could be true. The leader of the Sonozaki family? Who is it? The current leader is the old lady at their main house, but it wouldn't be incorrect to say that practically all the rights of leadership been transferred to her granddaughter, Mion-san. See? I kind of wonder that's going to happen soon. The visage of Mion giving prompt directions to the adults while searching for Rika-chan sprung back to mind. But Mion! She's gonna disappear? I hadn't even thought of that possibility. All my hair stood on end. That's insane. Nobody wants that, right? Of course not. We can't allow that. Clamp. Oishi-san grabbed my shoulders with both hands. Then help us, my Baro-san. If there's anything you've noticed about Mion Sonozaki lately, please tell me. I was going along with him? By the time I realized it, it was too late. Oishi-san brought his face in closer, almost close enough to ram into me, waiting for my next words. This pressure, I can't tear my eyes away from his. That moment, I heard a beeping sound. It was from the driver's seat. He ignored it at first, but then it started to bother him, so he finally let go of me and leaned into the driver's seat. Hello? Yep, loud and clear. I was saved. Of course, it's not like I could escape through this opening. I see. Yes, alright. Let's head back then. Yes. Okay. Apparently he was being recalled. Now that I knew I'd be freed, the tension in my body dissipated all at once. It looks like I need to get going. We were just getting to the good part too. That's too bad. Oishi-san flung open the door, exited, and walked around the front to the driver's seat. He left the door open. Did that mean I could leave? You really care about your friends, my Rao-san. An admirable trait for a kid to have in this day and age. I totally understand that it feels like you'd be betraying them if you told the police anything. My Baro-san, it's the middle of the night, so get a good night's sleep and then think about it. Just a little bit of courage from you might end up being what saves many of your friends in the end. There's my beeping sound going on. Did he want to say that the sacrifices wouldn't stop with Rika-chan and Satoko? You know this already, but every night since Watanagashi, something has happened. In the past, the curse only occurred once per year, but this time it's been going on for days. What a prosperous year this has been. I don't think you can call that prosperous. The night before last night, and now today, there's no proof that something won't happen tomorrow night as well. It's our job to prevent such things before they happen, but for that, we need your cooperation, my Baro-san. I looked out the open door to see none other than my own house right in front of me. It creeped me out that he knew my name and address, but I was too sleepy right now. I was too sleepy to care. Well, you're probably tired. It's already 3 in the morning. Please, get yourself a good rest. Yes, sir. I'll be going now. His alarm needs to shut up. Oh, boy. When I was about to get out of the truck as if to deliver a parting blow, Oishi-san said in a raised voice, I'll be coming by every day until you feel like talking, alright? I don't believe forcing you to confess in an interrogation room is really in fashion these days. I couldn't say anything in response, but me slamming the door shut probably served the same purpose. Alright, I think we're good. I'm just having this bad feeling. But yeah, next part, let's see how this one will go. So, like, comment, and subscribe. See you later. Have a good one.